We got to take a look at the week ahead, and something, Brad, you pointed out to me earlier is, Wall Street banks are warning that inflation is not as transitory as the Fed makes it out to be. And there's also that debt ceiling to watch out for. And this could be another reason why Bitcoin is rising, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, there's, again, all of this is, all of financial markets are distorted by the Federal Reserve, which has become very, very deeply ingrained in financial markets. So, when you see these economic data points, often the markets don't trade on the data point itself. They just jump to the next conclusion, which is, what is the Fed going to do? So right now, what's kind of interesting is the Fed had a little bit of a different story from the markets are kind of moving away from what has been Fed Chair Powell's perspective, which is like, yeah, we don't, inflation is transitory. We don't have to worry about it, which means there's no rush to tighten monetary policy and take away some of the stimulus. On the other hand, there's a perspective that if they start to, that they may have to move if the faster inflation gets, and that'll hurt markets. But then people are start to think, oh, well, the Fed won't do anything to hurt markets because they don't want to hurt markets. So it's all becomes very confusing, but things are heating up. Inflation is heating up. It seems like we're starting to come out of this Delta variant. So people are wondering, all right, now we're going to go back to the reopening mode here. What's that going to look like? What's jobs going to look like? Is it going to be good or bad for Bitcoin? It remains to be seen, but, things are getting a little dicier and a little more speculative. Stock market investors are becoming a little more nervous.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I also just noticed from your notes, the real estate investor Barry Sternlicht saying this week that he owns Bitcoin because the U.S. government and every government in the Western Hemisphere is printing money now to the end of time, and this is a finite amount of something, referring to Bitcoin, and it can be traded globally. More economic data out on consumer spending seems like there is more spending. I can definitely see the impact of inflation at the gas pump right now. But George, we got to close this up. So I'm going to give you the last word.
Yeah. So everyone's talking about ETFs and all the institutions getting involved, and a lot of the data seems to suggest that institutions were the ones who were active in September, more OTC volume than Coinbase level volume. But I want to see if the retail people are going to be getting involved next week. Are we going to have regular way people buying Bitcoin next week on Coinbase and getting ready to hold? Maybe 18 months ago, we wouldn't care very much about the retail market, but we've seen the power of retail markets. So maybe we're up 7% now, but if retail gets really involved next week, we could have another explosive week, and it'd be really exciting, really cool.
New all-time high, potentially.
Yeah,
Let's see.
I mean, for sure, like the new all-time high, if we get there, which we're pretty close now, that'll generate a whole new wave of headlines and FOMO, So I agree with George. It could get like hot pretty fast.